Begin by simply listening. Slow down. See just how peaceful today can be. Greetings, children. It's I, your obedient servant, Sebastian St. Serapi and Smalls. So excited for this one. Wrapping up the Quran. Gotta keep kicking Zelda butt, and we'll see where it goes from there. Thanks for swinging by. Hope you have a great time. Catch you guys on the flip side. No, to the beginning.
A beginning is a very delicate time. Know then that it is the year 10,191. The known universe is ruled by the Padishah Emperor Shaddam IV, my father. In this time, the most precious substance in the universe is the spice melange. The spice extends life. The spice expands consciousness. The spice is vital to space travel. The Spacing Guild and its navigators, who the spice has mutated over 4,000 years, use the orange spice gas, which gives them the ability to fold space. That is, travel to any part of the universe without moving. Oh yes, I forgot to tell you. The spice exists on only one planet in the entire universe. A desolate, dry planet with vast deserts. Hidden away within the rocks of these deserts are a people known as the Fremen. who have long held a prophecy that a man would come, a Messiah, who would lead them to true freedom. The planet is Arrakis, also known as Dune.
So, I know we've been coming here for a while, trying to work on our
communication issues.
exact.
Yeah, like, people don't do that. This one's not going to work, is it? This song doesn't even exist outside of Rushmore. Ugh. Okay, Hans Zimmer, whatever.
Well, if you want to sing out, sing out. And if you want to be free, be free. 'Cause there's a million things to be, you know that there are. And if you want to live high, live high. And if you want to live low, live low. 'Cause there's a million ways to go, you know that there are. You can do what you want. The opportunity's on. And if you find a new way, you can do it today. You can make it all true. And you can make it undo. You see, it's easy. You only need to know. Well, if you want to say yes, say yes. And if you want to say no, say no. 'Cause there's a million ways to go, you know that there are. easy. Ah, you only need to know. And if you wanna sing out, sing out. And if you wanna be free, be free. 'Cause there's a million things to be. You know that there are, 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 you know that there are. Don't forget to subscribe.
Amazon hates this, but there's nothing they can do to stop it. There's a new electric lighter out there, and it's got the firepower of a military-grade flamethrower. It's already been banned from Home Depot, Amazon, and Walmart for being too powerful. But the company behind it, they're not playing ball with the big retailers, and they've sold over 3 million units in just the past 30 days. That's right, they're cutting out the middleman and slashing the price. This lighter called Fireblaze is unlike anything you've ever seen. It's been featured in all major newspapers like NBC News, Fox News, and even CNN. That's because it doesn't use butane or gas. Instead, it runs off ion pulse technology, producing an 1800-degree plasma flame, powerful enough to burn through metal.
You're a plasma flame. No. Where's the thing?
So the Quran got revealed when Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was in his cave of Hira, and he saw a bright light coming to him.
The angel of Jibreel came down to him in a form of light and squeezed him 3 times and told him to read.
He kept on saying, "Iqra, Iqra, Iqra," and our Prophet wouldn't know how to read.
And then on the last time, the Prophet ﷺ said, "What do I read?" And then the angel Jibreel ﷺ said,
"Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq," which means read in the name of Allah. So from then on, he was taught, and then it's been carried on for years now.
And Prophet Muhammad ﷺ then taught the people, and the people just taught generations to come.
And that's the story.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم.
If somebody asks me what the Quran was, I'll just tell them that it's basically the book of answers to all your questions.
It's not just a book, it's a revelation from the Lord of all worlds.
It was the last book given to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ.
It's basically a guide for the Muslims.
If someone were to ask me to give them a definition of what the Quran is, I would say to them that the Quran is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to all of mankind.
That was revealed to his last prophet, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the time frame of 23 years. Its mere recitation is an act of worship, and it is impossible for mankind to bring anything like it.
إن القرآن هو دستور هذه الحياة، وهو قانون لكل مسلم، بل هو رحمة للعالمين، وهو بالتواتر نقل إلينا من صحابة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم والتابعين حتى قرأنا القرآن قراءة صحيحة متواترة عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم.
So that's in regards to the definition of the Quran al-Karim.
What does the Quran mean to you?
So the Quran means to me such an open question.
The Quran means to me, Alhamdulillah, he's the best friend I can fully trust it. He the one show me the right direction to the path to communicate with my God. If I lost, I go to the Quran and find my way. And I find whatever I want there. Peaceful of mind, peaceful of heart. It's the shadow of my life, inshallah, until I face my God.
So for me, it's a personal letter or revelation that Allah sent, and I feel that it's directed towards me. So that's what the Quran is. It's my connection with Allah.
The Quran is my life. The Quran is everything that I think of. It's my heart, it's my soul, it's my brain, everything.
What is the main message of the Quran?
The main message would be really use your life wisely.
I would say the main message of the Quran is Tawheed. Basically, the message to worship Allah and the fact that Allah is only one.
The Quran teaches people to believe in one God and to not associate partners with Him.
And to do righteous deeds such as Salah, Zakah, Saum.
It's telling us that if you obey Allah's rules, if you obey Allah's rules, you will inshallah go in Jannah.
It's going to sound very soft, but I feel like the overriding message of the Quran is that Allah is extremely merciful. I really feel the more I read the Quran, mercy and forgiveness comes up so much that you can't help but feel the mercy of Allah is the overriding message. That's my personal journey with the Quran. I've really taken that away.
The whole Quran is basically educating you about who Allah is. And obviously knowing who Allah is connects you to every other part of the religion. Once you know who Allah is, that connects you to your prayer, that connects you to your conduct, that connects you to the beliefs that you have. So basically the Quran is a book from Allah telling you about Allah.
The verses of the Quran is for all of humanity, and often I'm disappointed that Muslims feel that this is only for them. The Quran is a message that needs to touch the hearts of everyone. To live by the Quran is to treat our neighbors kindly, to say a good word, to appreciate and respect the rights of others over us. It's not all about individuals, but it's about the benefit of society, the benefit of mankind. So that's what we hope to achieve with our connection to the Quran, to understand our purpose in life, that we are here for a very short journey, and that we fulfill the purpose of that journey by worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
I was living in a suburb that, really there was no Muslims in that suburb at all. And one particular family came and moved to our suburb, and they were of a Lebanese background. And I was always interested in different cultures. So I started, befriended the family, and one time I was at their house and I happened to see a copy of the translation of the Quran on their bookshelf. And I basically just asked them, would you mind if I read that? And this is actually a copy of that translation that I read all those years ago, and that's where my journey all began, subhanAllah, to find Islam. Actually, the Quran was what led me to Islam, alhamdulillah.
I start work 5:45 in the morning by myself. Usually I have cassette with Quran for Sheikh Muhammad Sadiq in Shew. The boss usually comes 6 o'clock. I remember the boss that day, he come 5:45 and he entered the control room. You see, I have no chance to turn the radio off. And when I walked to tell it, he said, no, stop, don't touch it. He go there and he start listening. don't believe what he say. He said, look, he's not Muslim. He don't understand Arabic. He said, when I hear this voice, I was fully stressful and I don't know how I come peaceful, calm down, and this is giving me a peace of mind. Even I didn't understand what he talking about, just from listening.
I don't play that way.
And this story is 100% true. What up to me?
And then one time I was, in a car with a Muslim family, and we were going somewhere, and I remember hearing this, beautiful sound in the car. And I was just asking them, what's that sound? And they told me that's the Quran, and I'd only read it in English up until then, but, and then subhanAllah, to think that was the sound of the Quran when it's recited in Arabic. Like, it was just amazing, to think that it had this beautiful, amazing sound, that you listen to, which is so different than, with the Bible. It's incomparable, right? But I have to say, to be honest, this, that I actually had a singing background before becoming Muslim. So anyone out there who has come from that kind of musical kind of background, or, a singing background or something like that, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Like, you have a different sort of sensitivity to the beauty of sound.
فالقرآن الكريم سبحان الله أنا وجدت هذه المواقف في هذا البلد كثيرا ما نقرأ في حضور غير المسلمين فيأتون ويقولون شعورنا بطمأنينة وسكينة وبعضهم يبكي رأيت الكثير منهم يبكي ولا يدري ما هذا يقول هذا موسيقى ولكن نخبرهم بأنه القرآن. والكثير هنا في أستراليا أعتقد أنه شهد إسلام غير المسلمين بسبب سماع آية من القرآن، وربما هم لم يتدبروها أو يعرفوا معنى هذه الآية، ولكن فقط شعروا بهذا النور.
Peace be upon him said, he is not a believer whose stomach is filled while the neighbor to his side goes hungry. After months of grueling conflict, 1.1 million Palestinians face catastrophic hunger. Your donation makes a real difference. Our Double Up food parcels provide 120 meals for every $90 you donate. Double the meals, double the impact. With your help, we've supported over 2.2 million people in Gaza, serving hot meals, delivering food parcels, and providing medical aid when they have no one else to turn to. Your continued support allows us to reach more families. Help us achieve our goal by providing 20,000 food parcels. Donate now and double your impact. Visit our website to make a lasting difference today.
No.
Please don't skip the video. I would like to share a painful story from Gaza today. My name is Shahd, and in the midst of the war, I tried to save my family by raising funds online. Now, I'm reaching out to you again with a new link, which will be through a new friend from Gaza, who's also suffering greatly because of the war. We are asking for your help to save my family. Every donation, no matter how small, will make a big difference. Thank you to everyone who contributes to bringing hope back to us. Thank you
So that's why, I was particularly struck by the sound. And I remember after that, I'd always play, in particular, Abdul Basit, Abdul Samad, in my bedroom. I just wanted to listen to the words. Even though I did not understand a thing, but I just wanted to hear the sound of the Quran. It had an amazing impact on myself.
Whether you understand the Quran Kareem or not, whether you're Muslim or not Muslim, it still has a profound impact on people. This is because it has come from the Lord of the worlds, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He knows His creation. The human being, an important aspect of the human being is these emotions that he has, this heart that he has. The Quran Kareem is a remedy for this heart, for the ailments of this heart. It gives you comfort, it gives you tranquility. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says regarding the Quran that we reveal that which is a remedy and a healing and a mercy to the believers.
وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاءٌ
If anyone read Quran by his brain and heart, he's gonna be emotional. Because the God said, لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله. If this Quran come on a mountain, the mountain won't stand there. It's gonna be finished. So we are a human being, and the God give us the help, give us the power that we read Quran. Sometimes we have some feeling this benefit from the God to show you are on the right path.
It doesn't always come, but sometimes when it does come, it's just, an undescribable feeling. And I realize that it actually comes to you more often when you have a better understanding of what it's meaning. So, your understanding of the Arabic of the Quran, your understanding of the the little bit that you see it, you appreciate it so much more, and that feeling comes to you because you're like, wow, I've read this ayah 100 times, but I've never thought of it that way, and it's like mind-blowing.
I don't understand it all, but when it gets to a word that I really understand and it sinks in my heart, it takes me a long time to go to the next word or next ayah, and I just feel like I'm in Jannah. I really do, because understanding the words that you've learned and you understand it, it's just a different taste, it's a different feeling.
I remember Surah Al-Duha, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent that surah at a particular time in the Prophet ﷺ's life when he was experiencing great difficulty. Of course, his people rejected him. He had lost his wife Khadija alayhi salam. He had lost his uncle Abu Talib. We read Surah Al-Duha without thinking about what it means. But if we understand the context of its revelation and how that can, resonate with us during difficult times for the Muslim community or for us on a personal level, we need not despair of the mercy or the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is always with us.
The truth of the matter is that for many mothers who are alone, regardless of where they are, their world is falling apart. I encourage you to use your wealth to support them, even if it's just $50 a month. By seeing this video right now, Allah is providing you the opportunity to use your wealth to support these mothers and orphans. Please give your zakat and sadaqah and support my channel by commenting.
That was scary, but we can change that, and we're working tirelessly to provide essential aid to those in need. For just $5, you can provide a nutritious meal to a child in Gaza. This small contribution can make a huge difference, offering hope and relief where it's needed. Your support helps us deliver more than just food. It brings clean water, essential supplies, and a glimmer of hope to families struggling to survive. Imagine the impact of your generosity. With $50, Let's work together to change the scary situation these families face. Donate to Ummah. Together we can make a difference. Bring us hope and relief, one meal at a time. Your kindness can turn fear into hope. Small donation, big effect.
Can you read now Surah Al-Qasas, verse number 55?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذا سمعوا اللغو أعرضوا عنه وقالوا لنا أعمالنا ولكم أعمالكم سلام عليكم لا نبتغي الجاهلين.
Surah Al-Ahzab, verse 45.
يا أيها النبي إنا أرسلناك شاهدا ومبشرا ونذيرا.
Surah Taha 73. Surah Taha 73.
إنا آمنا بربنا ليغفر لنا خطايانا وما أكرهتنا عليه من السحر والله خير وأبقى.
The miracle of memorizing the Quran is truly wondrous. You find that people from a very young age memorize the whole Quran from cover to cover meticulously. There's over 6,000 verses in the Quran, and to be able to memorize all of that is truly a miracle.
One of the miracles that Allah gave to this ummah is that He's put in our hearts the love for the Quran. He's put in our hearts the love for our scripture. The love that the Muslims have for the Quran is not the same as other religious groups have for their scripture. And the proof of this is that the Quran is still in its original form. It's memorized by millions of people. There's no other book.
There's never been a book in the history of humanity that has been memorized and preserved in the way that the Quran has. It doesn't matter which corner of the world you go to, you will find Muslims memorizing, preserving and reciting the Quran in the same way that it was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Jibreel, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
I started studying Quran when I was in Somalia at a young age, and it was the proper culture at the time. Children will start age of 3, age of 4, and they will learn the writing of the Quran, the Osmanic script, not the normal Arabic writing.
In Mauritania, we came across a couple of the students of the Quran. They would memorize the Quran on wooden board, if you want to call it. They call it a lawh. They would write the page of the Quran that they would memorize, and then they would memorize it. And then when they finish memorizing this page and making it very strong, it becomes so strong that they don't need it anymore. They basically wash it off the lawh, the board that they memorized. So you see there are different ways of memorizing the Quran. In the West, Mauritania and Morocco, this is how they do it.
تشقى إلا تذكرة لمن يخشى تنزيلا ممن خلق الأرض والسماوات العلى.
So after I had, become Muslim, I had the opportunity to meet a few people who had memorized the Quran. And when I met them, the idea just instantly came into my heart that I want to do that too. I didn't know how I was going to do that. I remember telling one sister, actually an Arabic-speaking sister, when I was only like in my early 20s, I was telling her, I want to memorize the Quran by the time I'm 30. And she actually laughed at me. Actually, the way I started memorizing the Quran in the very beginning, many of you may have seen copies of the Quran that have the transliteration in them, right? So I couldn't read Arabic in the beginning, but I wanted to memorize. So I used to copy out that transliteration and then write the English underneath until I became very familiarized with the Arabic script, and I slowly moved on to the Arabic script and started memorizing from that. But after having taken 20 years to memorize it, I kind of can see why now she found it quite, incredulous that I had that goal. But look, I just was very determined. I made it my goal that inshallah ya Rabbil Alameen, I wanna die with this Quran in my heart.
And why do you want to finish the Quran?
I want to get the ajr of memorizing the whole Quran, because on the Day of Judgment, my parents will have crowns on their heads, unlike some other parents.
I want to try and finish the Quran, and then I want to be able to teach it, because the Prophet ﷺ said, خيركم من تعلم القرآن وعلمه. Best of you are those who learn the Quran and then teach it.
Yeah, so min fadlillahi ta'ala, actually 4 of my kids memorized the Quran. My eldest, Jamal, alhamdulillah, he finished when he was 14.
I've got 2 sons that have memorized the Quran. I've got 6 other more children.
Alhamdulillah, I'm a hafiz of the Quran, and I've memorized it almost 3 years ago.
I memorized it in 2018.
The Quran was my life of my kids. We go to school, we memorize, we come from school,
I had the Quran read to them. I would read, and I would have a CD player on for them to listen to the Quran, to familiarize themselves with the articulation of the Arabic language.
First Arabic Quran school, it was in this garage in Australia, maybe 40 years ago. I got all my children, about 19 of them, and I made a school for them here, and I teach them Quran and Arabic in this garage here.
I've always got to teach my grandfather. And so, even though I memorize the Quran, I feel like most of the Quran has to go to my dad, because he's the one that showed me how to do things and why it was my dad's kind of dream for me to become a Hafiz. And of course, the importance of becoming a Hafiz and living according to the Quran is the most important.
How does that make you feel?
Very proud. I put the seeds, and the seeds now tree, and the big fruit now. The baby can eat, everybody get benefit from it.
I am the mother in the whole world, and I have been the happiest mother. Even my children, my girls, I think my life is complete. If there would be $1 million, Australia, I'm very proud of it.
For me, the greatest joy is, for example, listening to them as an adult, going about their daily life, reciting the Quran wherever they go, whether in their car or at home. I think, to me, that gives me the greatest joy, just knowing they've got that for life. You've given your kids this Quran, subhanAllah, for them to have for their life.
Al-Imam al-Shatibi, he says in his poem, he says, glad tidings to your parents. On them, on the Day of Judgment, will be مَلَابِسُ أَنْوَارٍ مِنَ التَّاجِ وَالْحُلَى, illuminating clothes of a cloak and a crown. Then he says after that, فَمَا ظَنُّكُمْ بِالنَّجْلِ عِنْدَ جَزَائِهِ. So what do you think the reward will be for the one who actually memorized the Quran?
Some kind of big reward.
When I first went to Turkey, I didn't know much. I only knew Juz Amma, and I didn't really like how process of my recitation.
I had days where I would cry because I can't do a page. And, not seeing your family for a month or so was very tough as a kid, as a child.
You've just got to be ready to go through that process, but it is so worth it. If you can just get over that initial stage, yes, it's a lot of hardships and you might feel frustrated sometimes, but bi'idhnillah, just always remember that the amount of reward that inshallah you're going to get, it will never be lost with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
The whole journey of memorizing the Quran, it's like, the mushaf, the Quran becomes like your best friend. Wherever you go, the Quran goes with you. You're holding your mushaf wherever you go, from class to home.
So realistically, if you want to memorize the Quran, I can say you need to be able to find at least 1 or 2 hours in your day, every day, to sit, and memorize and revise. That's the reality. So you need to be committed to do that.
I can assure you, my own journey with the Quran is not without struggles. I embarked on a journey to attain certification to teach the Quran, and I thought I'd complete the journey in 1 year. And during that time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed me with 3 more children in very close time to each other. So for each of us, the Quran is our personal journey.
And ultimately, what does Allah look at when He rewards us? It's our ikhlas, our sincerity, and also, how much we've strove to achieve that particular goal, bi'idhnillah.
And once we purify our intention that we are doing this solely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to get closer to Him, then, we would succeed. Even if we don't complete the journey with the Quran, as long as we are on that path and we start today, things will progress, inshallah. If it takes a year, 10 years, 20 years, let the journey continue.
That's like 1/5 of the book on a loop, so you're well on your way.
I also learned that the level of Jannah you go to depends on how much you've memorized. So if you memorize the whole Quran, then obviously you're going to go to the best type of Jannah.
I don't want to memorize you talking about memorization. Completing the memorization, the divine nature. Okay. Skipping ahead a little. No more of this memorization talk. We need more advertisements. Play.
The moment I opened the Quran, even from the first page that I read, something inside me just said that this is the truth. You cannot deny that this is the truth. It was so convincing. It was as if Allah was speaking to me directly. And this is coming from a background of no religiosity at all. Like I considered myself an agnostic at the time. It's sent by Allah. It is sent by Allah. There's no other explanation.
I was once in an interfaith dialogue in which the MC was a pastor, a minister in the church. A young boy, Hafiz, recited some verses of the Quran from memory. When the boy sat down, the MC got up and he said, we as Christians, when we hear the Quran being recited, know that this is not the word of man. This cannot be the word of man. And then he said it sends shivers up my spine, or up our spine, when we hear the Quran being recited. And this is nothing new.
On one occasion, the Prophet ﷺ goes to the Haram, to Mecca, and he begins to recite Surah Al-Najm out loud before everyone. وَالنَّجْمِ إِذَا هَوَى مَا ضَلَّ صَاحِبُكُمْ وَمَا غَوَى وَمَا يَنطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَى. He continues on reciting this beautiful and very powerful meaning surah until he reaches the last section of the surah.
Yeah.
فَاسْجُدُوا لِلَّهِ وَاعْبُدُوا. The narration, it mentions that after the Prophet ﷺ recited this verse, all of the people in the Haram, the believers, with the Prophet ﷺ, with the mushrikeen that were opposed to him, they fell down in sujood before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They couldn't help it. They realized firsthand, they experienced it. It is the work of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yeah.
The Quran incapacitates creation from producing anything like it. You cannot imitate the Quran. You can't produce something like the Quran. And in fact, in 3 different places in the Quran, Allah challenges creation to produce something like the Quran.
When they couldn't make this challenge, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the challenge a bit more easy. فَأْتُوا بِعَشْرِ سُوَرٍ. Then at least bring 10 chapters, like the chapters of the Quran.
And given that they cannot produce even 10 surah of the Quran, he minimizes that challenge to even produce one surah of the Quran. And we know that one surah of the Quran is as short as just a few words.
The shortest chapter is Surah Al-Kawthar. It consists of 3 verses. In it, there's around 10 words. The scholars, they say, even in this short surah, there are 6 words out of the 10 that are not mentioned anywhere else in the Quran except in this surah. That's just another example of the miraculous nature of the Quran al-Karim.
How do we know the Quran is divinely sent from God?
How do I know the Quran is divinely sent from God?
In the early or mid-1990s, Australia was very lucky, or the Muslim community was very lucky and fortunate to have a visit by Professor Zahrul al-Najjar. Subhanallah, I had the chance to transcribe one of his lectures, and I basically memorized the scientific miracles that he spoke of when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَكَانَتْ وَرْدَةً كَالدِّهَانِ. And it was as if it was an oil-painted rose. You know, we didn't know what that meant decades ago, but now we know that when we look up into the sky, the night sky, we can see an oil-painted rose in the night sky, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so beautifully described in the Quranic verses. The other verses, of course, was وَالْبَحْرِ الْمَسْجُورِ, and the ocean set on fire. And again, when the first people who heard these verses were addressed, they did not know that there were literally fires under the ocean, the magma oozing out of the earth's crust, and of course the miracles of the embryo, how it is created. All of those verses confirmed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who sent down the Quran as a guidance for all of mankind.
It's also got some amazing insights into the ancient past. The Quran mentions that the people of Abraham worshipped the sun, the moon, and a third celestial object. Recent archaeological discoveries have shown that the people of this region did indeed worship an astral triad of the sun, the moon, and Venus. Now this knowledge was lost for thousands of years. It was only rediscovered recently in the 20th century. Chapter 10 of the Quran makes the claim that the Pharaoh of Moses was drowned in the sea and that his body will be preserved as a sign for future generations. Historically, Egyptian priests hid the body of Ramesses II, who was the Pharaoh of Moses, in a secret location until it was rediscovered in the year 1881 CE. Today, the mummy is on display in the Cairo Museum. So, how is it possible that the author of the Quran had access to such knowledge?
Because if you skip us, you denying us and our family and the chance, the visibility for people who can get this. And if you can get this, all you have to do is watch this video all the way through. We are a Mudahir family from Gaza. After losing our home, memories, and precious things, we made it a mission on us to save our lives and compensate our loss. All you have to do is take 1 minute of your time and interact with this video so it gets viral and reaches as many people as possible. And if you are generous enough, just to try to give help, and thank you so much.
Feeling like your mind isn't as sharp as it used to be? What if you could produce your brain's hidden potential, improve your memory, focus, and creativity? Introducing the Genius Wave, a 7-minute audio program developed by former NASA neuroscientists. The Genius Wave uses binaural beat technology to stimulate your brain, enhancing cognitive function and achieving your true potential.
I feel like I have a new lease on life. My memory is sharper, and I'm learning new things every day. I'm more creative and focused than I've been in years. The Genius Wave has truly impacted my life.
Experience the difference yourself.
See, this is like something when I started my journey, I always knew as a Muslim, this is what you're told. The Quran is the word of God and it's a linguistic miracle. And it just takes a lot of effort in terms of once you reach a certain level of Arabic and you've tasted Arabic, especially Arabic outside the Quran, you get a feel for like how the Quran is so different to all other Arabic.
One example that the scholars give, they say in one verse of the Quran al-Kareem, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions in this one verse 2 commands, 2 prohibitions, and 2 glad tidings are given. All of these 6 things are mentioned in just one verse. Now you try, put a sentence together, just one sentence that mentions all of those 6 things, it is very, very hard. And if you are able to, it won't be as eloquent, as beautiful as the Quran al-Kareem.
And then we look at the miraculous aspects of word choice and positioning. For instance, we take Surah Yasin. Allah tells us in Surah Yasin, وَكُلٌّ فِي فَلَكٍ يَسْبَحُونَ. And every one of them, meaning those celestial objects, the sun, the moon, the earth, and the rest of the objects in the solar system and in the universe, is in its own orbit swimming. If we read from beginning to end, and if we read it from the end to the beginning, it is exactly the same letters. So in this part of the ayah, that message is literally represented visually in order for us to see that floating and orbit and swimming with the letters themselves.
So it's hard to describe. You can talk about specific techniques that are used in the Quran and so forth, but just like the fact that it's a book that I've spent hours and hours on, but there's still so much more, and I know that it's an ocean that I can keep diving into. So that for me tells me that this can't just be any book or it's not the word of man.
This was really sexy. That was the sexiest, not counting erotica, that was the sexiest puzzle video I've ever seen.
I know we've been coming here for a while, trying to work on our communication issues. Exactly. But things have really changed between us. Aha. I finally switched to RCS, the modern standard for texting the rest of his phones already use. Which means now being together in group chat is so much better. So much better. And now we can send each other high-quality photos and videos. All that means, what we're trying to say is, now that iPhone finally has RCS, we've had a breakthrough. Even though I know I still have work to do, it finally feels like we're on the same page. Hop, hop, hee, hop. Stop. No, you stop. Dalmatian, banana, carrot pigeon, paperclip, electric pen.
People don't talk about communication, they backstab. That's not gonna set up my
Your father knows about saving money. Everything I'm wearing, I've had since boot camp.
And I just saved on my car insurance for driving safe with PSAA.
Auto insurance that flexes with you. Keep the fit. That's what we're made for.
I want my horse.
You and all other school parent groups about the country, and you must stand united on this and stamp out this frightful assassin of our youth. You can do it by bringing about compulsory education on the subject of narcotics in general, but great marijuana in particular. That is the purpose of this meeting, ladies and gentlemen, to lay the foundation for a nationwide campaign by you to demand by law such compulsory education. Because it is only through enlightenment that this scourge can be wiped out. Out of the traffic in these drugs, a lawlessness that we can scarcely estimate has grown and is now flourishing. It exists in almost every city and hamlet in the country. It might be interesting and important for you to know some of the methods used in bringing these drugs into the country, and the work of the forces of law and order, which are daily combating the traffic, always at the risk of life by their agents. This ceaseless fight against the drug traffic is directed by the Department of Narcotics, Washington. I've received a letter of vital importance from a member of the Narcotics Bureau. I'm going to read this letter to you. My dear Dr. Carroll, the suppression of the use of marijuana and of the forces lurking behind it are the most important jobs this department is now engaged in. At the outset of this letter, there is one vital fact I would like to submit. There is a powerful agency. I speak of the school parent associations of this country, which can be invaluable in stamping out this scourge. Their help, their return to ignorance, could be the deciding factor in our fight against it. The weed marijuana is grown in every state in the Union. Recently, in the city of Brooklyn, New York, a field of marijuana was found behind a tenement court. The weed was here being cultivated, regularly stripped and dried and sold in schools and at government army posts in and around New York. The dried leaves and berries are ground up and made into cigarettes by a simply hand machine. The deadly narcotic is thus quickly and easily prepared for its market. The sale of marijuana is even more difficult to detect and halt than the traffic in drugs such as opium, morphine, and heroin. They are hidden in fake jewelry cases, in the heels of shoes, women's shoes especially, because the drugs can be secreted in false heels. Hollow shaving brushes are another means. Books with false centers are often used. Watch cases are convenient hiding places. The value of drugs thus seized is enormous. Recently, a huge supply of heroin was taken. It was concealed in an apparently harmless shipment of 35 barrels of olive oil. The deadly drug was burned in the incinerator of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. And more vicious, more deadly, even than these soul-destroying drugs, is the menace of marijuana. No doubt many of you do not believe that these things do happen, but they cannot happen to you. You may also believe that the facts have been exaggerated. Let me tell you of something that happened right here in our own city. You probably read about it in the papers. However, I'll give you the real facts behind the case. There was an apartment near one of our high schools. It was run by a woman known as May Cole.
Oh my gosh, this thing's trying to kill me.
Hey. Come on, May, get up.
What time is it?
Time to get up and give this place a going over. Looks like the Marines had landed.
That bunch last night was high enough to take over the Marines and the Navy.
You better get on the job. Some of the kids may be up this afternoon.
How to get the most of Grammarly free.
It's Kayla on behalf of Grammarly to tell you all about the free version of the best communication assistant in the world. Millions have chosen to go beyond their default grammar checkers and use Grammarly. My cousin Izzy, a graphic designer, is one of them. Izzy loves how quick and reliable Grammarly is at providing feedback. Another reason Izzy signed up for Grammarly is its conciseness suggestions, something she wasn't getting from default grammar checkers. Grammarly notices wordiness and helps her rephrase this hard-to-read sentence with one click. Izzy also wants to feel like her tone is on point, so she uses Grammarly's tone detector to show how a reader may understand her writing. Here, Izzy's email is optimistic, friendly, and admiring. Izzy sends the email confident that it's mistake-free, concise, and on target. And what did it cost her? All of it. It's free.
Download for free at Grammarly.com. Grammarly, one of the best AI.
Oh, Jack, we can get along without dragging those young kids up here.
Oh, why don't you button up your lip? You're always squawking about something. You got more static than the radio.
Not to us. Sell it to liquidation. Cat, you disconnected the thing. It's probably going to be ages before I get the Nintendo connected again. Because of you, Cat. Did you accomplish anything worthwhile by bumping the electronics? Anything?
Oh, greetings.
Well, hello, fella. How are you?
Fine, how are you? Come here. Come here. Glad to see you.
Is the name?
Should be right in. Just sit down and make yourself comfortable.
Hey, what kind of a joint is this, Eddie?
Oh, it's all right, Gwen. See, they probably had a party last night.
Oh.
A couple of your customers, May.
Yeah? They're old enough to know what they're doing. Not like those young kids you bring up here.
All right, all right. Listen, I'm going to blow.
Where are you going?
I got to make some deliveries, and I'll probably drop by Joe's place and bring back a couple of the kids.
Oh, I wish you'd lay off those kids.
Oh, why don't you get over their complex?
A lot of things on the electronics. You can just chill.
Getting a little party Saturday afternoon over at my grandmother's. You know, the place with the swimming pool? Like to come?
Thanks, Eddie. Maybe I will.
I'd sure like to have you.
Okay, I'll probably drop over.
So long, Ralph.
See you later. Hey, Ralph. Hi, kid. Fine, Jack, and you? Oh, great. Where you heading? Oh. Hey, how do you like that? That's the one I was telling you about. Very nice.
I don't know why you want to make such a fuss over that Ralph Wally. Oh, he's a swell swimmer. He made the freshman team that year he went to college. Yeah, and that lets him out. My dad knows his family. None of them were any good. Father and mother just got a divorce from parents. Yeah? You know, Ralph comes around pretty much in his own. He's been in a couple of jams. Well, I only kind of say hello to him. I don't go around with him. Well, you better not. He's a little too old for it. That's what my dad said.
Hello, Mary. How are you, Bill?
How are you, Ralph?
Oh, hello, Ralph. You know my brother Jimmy, don't you?
How are you? Well, I'd like you to meet a friend of mine, Jack Perry. Mary, Bill.
How do you do?
Glad Glad to know you. We're going over to Joe's place. Why don't you come along?
We have a date to play instead of doubles.
Oh, you can play anytime. Come on, we'll have some laughs.
Oh, we can't today, Ralph. Some other time.
Can I go along with you?
Sure.
Oh.
Hey, I'll see you at dinner, sis.
Don't be late, Jimmy. Why don't you know he has that hot finger curling?
Boy, he really swings out hot with a message jive. You want to dance?
Do I?
May's expecting us at the apartment a little later. Any new prospects?
Maybe. Oh, Jimmy, you're wonderful.
You just finding that out?
Why can't we go now?
Hey, kids, we're having a little party up at my girlfriend's apartment. Wouldn't you like to come? Oh, I'd love to. You want to come, don't you, Jimmy?
Sure. Any place with you.
Well, come on, I'll go to my car.
See you later, Joe.
It's sweet of you to help me, Phil.
Well, I'll try anything except domestic science.
Why, Phil, don't you want to learn something about running your own home?
The answer is no. You know, after that session we had yesterday, I went home and told Mother that the trouble with her pot roast gravy was she hadn't added 3 heaping teaspoonfuls of olive oil.
What did she say?
She didn't say anything. She just threw me out of the kitchen.
Well, I don't wonder. Hello, children. Hello, Mother.
Hello, Mrs. Lane.
That was sweet of you, Mother.
Gosh, hot chocolate. Thanks, Mrs. Lane.
I know you can't study on empty stomach. Now then, enjoy yourself. He will.
She will too, Mrs. Lane. May I?
Oh, thank you, kind sir. You're so very, very kind.
Mary, before we do that math, how about reading some of this? It's swell.
Romeo and Juliet.
Don't you like it? You know, when I study this, I kind of think of you. I just sort of feel as though you're there beside me. Well, listen. It is my soul that calls upon thy name.
When you get car insurance, you get a price based on all these drivers. But when you get car insurance with Lemonade, you get a price based on you. If you drive less, you save. If you drive safely, you save. Whatever your age, we see you new drivers. You can even save by customizing your policy to suit you. And when you need help, we've got you. Sign up through the Lemonade app or at lemonade.com/car. Just don't do it while driving.
I don't always have 1 to 2 hours in the day to actually prepare a meal and then clean up after. Sometimes I don't want to go out. I don't want to deal with the line at the grocery store, waiting for a table to eat at a restaurant. People call Cook Unity a meal service.
And it is, but it's so much more.
The beauty of Cook Unity is that I get recipes in the comfort of my own home without any of the struggles.
Way less expensive than takeout, and it actually just tastes better.
Cook Unity is like a weekly personal chef.
Actually, over 80 of them.
Silver sweet, how lovers come by night, like constant music to attending ears.
Romeo,
My dear,
what o'clock tomorrow shall I send to thee?
by the hour of 9.
I will not fail. 'Tis 20 years till then.
Well, I'll see you tonight, Mary. Bye, Mrs. Lang.
Goodbye.
All right. Well, bye. Bye.
Hey, Daddy!
Oh, Julie. Hey.
Hey, Dad, you got anything for me? Don't bother your father every night. Have you?
There you are.
What makes you so ill?
I was getting hungry. Well, I had to study.
Bill's got a girl. Got a girl.
Come on, make him cut it out.
Junior. Well, Bill has got a girl.
Quiet. And put that candy away till after dinner. Henry, you shouldn't have given it to him.
Well, he has got a girlfriend and her name is Mary.
I'll shut you up.
Bill, Junior, put that carriage on. Junior.
They're all right there, John.
Mary, I didn't mean to Bill answer, did you?
Oh, well, what I burned up about is that you didn't say Bill and a swell girl.
Gee, it must be love. Kid has to be slow for you to like her.
Well, sounds like you want something. Come on, what is it?
Well, it's my model airplane. It won't work. Gosh, Bill, you could fix it. You can fix anything.
Okay, I'll fix it.
That's reading for you.
You see? Oh, hello, Jimmy. Mary told me to wait and tell her she had to go home. Her mother wanted her to go to the dressmaker with her. Oh, thanks, Jimmy. You must be getting grown up. See, Mary let you have the car. Yeah. I take you any place? Well, I wasn't going any place in particular. Well, then, how about driving over to the show place with me? I'll buy you a soda. I never drink that stuff. Oh, gee, I'll buy you something else. Okay. You're on the hook for 1 root beer. Wow. Hi, Bill. Hi, Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy.
Hello, Jimmy. Hello, Bill. Come on, slide in.
Hello, Lance. Hello, Ralph. How are you? Oh, Lance, how have you been, Ralph? 2 sodas. No, I need 1 soda and 1 root beer. How's May?
Oh, she's fine. We're going up to her apartment a little later.
Couldn't Bill come along?
Mm-hmm.
Come on along. Bill, you get a kick out of that. Thanks, Jim. Thanks.
Oh, come on, Bill. Mary won't be jealous.
Well, sure, none of the kids will be there. It's teens. Well, I don't know. I really shouldn't have. Well, okay. Hi, Jim. Hello, Jack. What do you say? Yeah, come on in.
He's okay. Well, if you say so, it's all right with me. I'll be back in a minute. Hi, kids. How are you doing? There's a new one in the bay.
Yeah, Bill Harper. He's all right. Liza's got herself quite a yen for him.
Not bad. I didn't think she had that much taste.
She knows what she's doing. She's got Ralph nuts about her, and now she's got her hooked up for this new kid.
Hey, we haven't many more to smoke. You better run over and get some.
Why couldn't you find that out when I was here this morning? I've got my car in the shop.
Well, what of it? That kid out there, Jimmy. He's got a car. He'll take you. Come on, kid.
Hey, Jimmy. I've got to run over to Cedar Avenue for a minute. You've got a car, haven't you? Well, yeah, my sister. Mind giving me a lift? Why, sure. Come on. Okay.
No, thank you.
Oh.
Well, here we are. All day.
Oh, Lenny, don't forget this.
I never forget you. Oh, dear. If you want a good smoke, try one of these. I thought you were scared. Of course, if you're afraid. That's better. That's more like it. I know you like it really well. So just take a puff of that.
Just for a minute, kid.
Hey, Jack, get me a cigarette before you go, will you?
Oh.
Hello, Jack. Hi, Paul. How's business? Getting better every day. Those kids sure go for it. Well, had to run over a couple more cars. Ran short today.
All right. Danny? That's 10 gross from Jack Perry.
Oh.
Who? Pete Daly. All right, send him in. It's all right, stay right here.
Show isn't grabbing.
I want to talk to you.
All right, go ahead. Jack's okay. What's the beat?
All right, so listen up. State Farm was trying to charge me $100.
When you get car insurance, you get a price based on all these drivers. But when you get car insurance with Lemonade, you get a price based on you.
Good evening. Tonight, I'm going to tell you another strange and unusual story of the unexplainable which lies behind the veil. On the day our story takes place, John Preston's problem is a very ordinary one. An automobile and the problem of getting it running. But as the hours pass, he finds himself concerned with things not so ordinary.
All right. You all right?
I think so. Maybe more when I stopped shaking. You did come around there awfully fast.
I didn't know what made me do it at the time. Now it seems like a fine idea.
Oh.
Trouble?
My car won't die.
Let's have a look at it. Turn it over. Battery okay. Nothing loose. Have you got gas?
I should have. This gauge kind of acts up sometimes.
As you say, gas gauges act up. Phone's on.
Yeah.
I'll push you out of the way and we'll go get some gas.
No, I'm sorry.
No harm done. A little paint from your car scraped onto mine. My fault. I'll straighten out your license plate and we'll be wrapped and ready. LK333. Meet 583872. That ought to serve as a proper introduction. Get in my car. I'll drive you to wherever you want to go. I'm John Prescott, the boss.
I'm Ryan.
Yes, sir.
Please don't skip the head. I would like to share a beautiful story from Gaza today. My name is Shahd, and in the midst of the war, I tried to save my family by raising funds online. Now, I'm reaching out to you again with a new link, which will be through a new friend from Gaza, who's also suffering greatly because of the war. We are asking for your help to save my family. Every donation, no matter how small, will make a big difference. Thank you to everyone who contributes to bringing hope back to us. Thank you again.
Roma Wines, R-O-M-A, made in Now, Roma Wines, R-O-M-A, made in California for enjoyment throughout the world. Roma Wines present Suspense. Tonight, Roma Wines bring you Mr. Gregory Peck as star of The Lonely Road, a suspense play produced, edited, and directed for Roma Wines by William Spear. Suspense, radio's outstanding theater of thrills, is presented for your enjoyment by Roma Wines. That's R-O-M-A, Roma Wines. Those excellent California wines that can add so much pleasantness to the way you live, to your happiness and entertaining guests, to your enjoyment of everyday meals. Yes, right now a glassful would be very pleasant. as Roma Wines bring you Gregory Peck in a remarkable tale of suspense.
Thanks, Doc. Well, hello, Gare. How goes it?
Oh, not bad. You want a statement, I suppose?
Mm-hmm, that's right.
Well, tell me first, is she apt to get the extreme penalty?
Well, that'll depend a lot upon what you have to say.
I see. Well, I'll give it to you straight. I'm counting on you to do your best for her.
Sure. Oh, go ahead, shoot.
Okay. The first time I saw Jenny, she was coming along the road carrying a suitcase. I knew she was headed for our place because it's the only house for miles around there. I was trimming the hedge, and I got as far as the rear gate when she reached it. I waited for her to speak.
Is this the Gare place?
That's right. What can I do for you?
You had an ad in the paper for a girl to do general housework.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, come along into the house. My wife will want to have a talk with you.
This is a beautiful place you've got here, Mr. Gare. But it's certainly hard to get to.
You've walked from the highway?
Yeah. Must have been almost 5 miles. The sun is something fierce. I almost gave up. Don't any buses run along here?
Oh, we're pretty isolated. But when there's help in the house, I always manage to give them a lift into town.
That makes it nice, Mr. Gare.
What's your name?
Jenny.
Jenny what?
Jenny will do.
All right, Jenny, in here, please.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Gare's a trifle hard of hearing, so you'll have to speak up a bit. Oh, Helen, this is Jenny. She's come in answer to our advertisement.
Oh, yes. I'm very glad to see you, Jenny. Won't you sit down?
She was extraordinarily looking. Not beautiful or pretty. Striking, I guess, would be the word. She had heavy black braids wound about her head. Her eyes were a clear green and looked straight through you. And she was lean and powerful, like a young animal, a leopard or a panther or something. Well, my wife engaged Jenny. That night she cooked an excellent dinner and served it well. She had on a purple skirt and a cerise, I guess you'd call it, blouse, and I could see Helen eye it with disfavor. Every time the girl came close to me, I could feel the strength of her. And those green eyes watched us as if she was sizing us up. We took our coffee and cigarettes out on the veranda after dinner. You can look right over the orange grove to the hills. It's nice.
Steve, what do you think about Jenny?
Oh, well, it's a little early to judge. Seems capable enough. That was a darn good dinner, if you ask me. Maybe we're in luck, darling.
Maybe. What is she, do you think? Mexican?
No, I'd say Slavic with that build and shape of face. A little more coffee, Helen. Have a cup.
You're probably right. There's a sort of, gypsy arrogance, boldness about her that makes me uneasy, as if I'd had something to cope with.
We went up to bed early. I was pretty exhausted every night with all the physical work I had to do. I turned out the light, and for some reason stepped over to the window. Jenny's room was downstairs on the same side of the house as ours in the rear. Her light was still on. She was getting ready for bed, and her shadow, huge and black, lay across the lawn. Her arms were raised to take down those heavy braids. There was something actually classic about the thing. The picture of it stayed in my mind long after I got into bed. Well, 2 or 3 days went by, and Jenny, well, the thing was, you were conscious of her all the time. Wherever she was, about the house, whatever she was doing, you thought about her. I was working in the garage one afternoon when she came out there with the butcher knife.
Mrs. Gare says you have a whetstone out here. Could I get you to sharpen my knife for me, Mr. Gare?
Of course, just a moment.
What's that kid doing?
Oh, I'm trying to mend this old bear trap.
Oh, are you a trapper, Mr. Gare?
Oh, no, hardly. There's a coyote around that's been stealing the chickens. I'm hoping to catch him. There. Now then, let's have the knife.
What do you do, Mr. Gare?
Well, Jenny, Mrs. Gare was a concert pianist at the time of our marriage. I was a manager. Now I take care of her property, holdings, investments.
Do you sign things for her, like checks and papers and things?
Power of attorney, yes, that's part of it.
Oh. Pretty soft for you. Huh, Mr. Gare?
On the contrary, it's quite a job. Keeps me busy.
I still say you've got a pretty setup. But she didn't get such a bad deal herself. She's crazy in love with you. Anybody can see that. Why not? You're good looking, Mr. Gare. And young. You must be at least 12 years younger than she is.
Now, here's your knife, Jenny. Careful now. It's like a razor.
Thanks a lot. That's the way I want it. I can't stand a dull knife. So, I'll probably bother you often.
A few more days went by. I finished my trap and set it out near the chicken run, hoping I'd catch my thief. And one night after dinner, we were in the living room. What's the matter, Helen?
She's standing there in the dining room door listening.
Jenny? Well, she probably likes music. What's the harm?
Oh, it isn't that. She's always listening and watching. It's beginning to get on my nerves.
How about her work?
She works hard enough. She's willing, clean as a pin. But I have a feeling she doesn't respect me, that I just don't figure in her scheme of things. She's just simply taken the place over. I don't even run my own house anymore.
Fire, or why don't you?
Oh, no, I couldn't.
Say the word and I'll do it for you.
No, I don't want to. Steve, frankly, I'd be afraid of her to go. She might get ugly and set fire to the house or something.
Oh, I never heard such nonsense in my life. What ails you, Helen? Aren't you well?
I'm just terribly nervous, Steve. Maybe that's why she takes us dancing.
Well, that settled that. I felt like a hero because I was relieved that Helen didn't want to fire Jenny. I was obliged to admit to myself that the girl was getting under my skin. Any little service she had to perform for me, she made very special, standing as close as she dared. I could feel the magnetism of that strong, perfect body. Her hair smelled like new apples, and those clear, green eyes would linger caressingly in mine. Then after about 2 weeks, one night, it must have been 1 or 2 o'clock.
Steve, wake up.
What's the matter?
That girl. I think she's out there in the hallway. I think she's been in this room.
Oh, Helen.
I'm frightened, Steve. Please make a light.
Oh, all right. No one around, Helen. You must have been dreaming, dear.
Perhaps I was. I dream about her often, Steve. Horrid, confused kind of dreams. I'm trying to scream for help and can't. It's just...
Good Lord, Helen. I never thought anybody could get you down. You've got to control yourself somehow. This is just plain silly.
Yes.
I turned out the light and got back into bed. In a little while, I could hear Helen's even breathing and knew she was asleep. I lay there, thinking about Jenny, of course. I never thought of much else. In a moment, I heard the piano. So faint, I thought I was imagining it. And it came again. Weird. Ghostly. I got up again, put on my robe, and slipped downstairs. The living room was dark except for the moonlight pouring through the window. And Jenny's figure, black against the light, was moving towards me. Almost before I knew it, she'd pressed close against me, crushing her mouth to mine. It was like being stung. Sharp, sweet, terrible. Jenny, what is this?
Don't kid me. You knew this was coming. That it had to come, that nothing could keep us apart. Now everything's going to be all right.
Jenny, we can't. Helen is no fool.
We can't let her stand in our way.
What do you mean?
It won't be hard. Just a matter of figuring the best way.
I don't know what you mean, Jenny. And we can't stay here talking like this any longer.
It'll be just you and me, Steve. And all that money. Think what we can do with it. Just think.
Are you crazy?
Yeah. Crazy for you. Just like you are for me. Listen, inside of 5 or 6 years, you're going to be stuck with a deaf old woman. What you going to do? Sit here and grow old with her? Not you. Sooner or later, you'll clear out. So why not now? With me.
Why? Not so simple as you make it sound, my dear.
All you have to do is to spread around the town that Helen's going to visit her folks. Mississippi or someplace. And leave her to me. Afterwards, you can say your wife's decided to stay down south. That you're going to sell out and join us. Then we can turn everything into cash and we're on our way. Easy?
The next few days I worked outside till my hands bled and my whole body shrieked with pain. To keep from thinking, I began having nightmares. I'd wake up in a cold sweat and lie there longing for daylight, swearing that as soon as morning came, I'd throw that girl out of the house. But she'd brush against me or touch my hand, and I'd be wild for her again. I guess I knew then that sooner or later I'd agree to nearly anything she asked.
Roma Wines are bringing you as star Gregory Peck in The Lonely Road by Marion Orr. Roma Wines' presentation tonight in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Between the acts of suspense, this is Truman Bradley for Roma Wines. Today is the first day of spring. A welcome time everywhere, but especially at Roma. For in Roma's carefully kept vineyards, located in California's choicest wine-growing district, the precious vines are already stirring with renewed life. The eternal miracle of soil and sun is now creating the luscious goodness of tender grapes that Roma's master vintners patiently, unhurriedly, guide with tempting, mellow wine perfection for you. If you've never enjoyed fine Roma California wines, you'll be delighted to discover Roma can offer you so much taste luxury for so little. Yes, Roma is America's first choice in wine. For every occasion, every day. Yet, you can enjoy fine Roma wine for just pennies a glass, about the cost of a soft drink. And all Roma wines are bottled at the winery to bring you sealed in, unvarying goodness always. So, for praise-winning hospitality, or for happy family evenings at home, serve Roma Sherry, Port, Muscatel, or Tokay. Insist on Roma, R-O-M-A, Roma Wines. Discover why more Americans enjoy Roma than any other wine. And now Roma Wines brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Gregory Peck, who as Stephen Gare in The Lonely Road continues a narrative well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Helen began to get on my nerves. It seemed that every day she looked older, washed out, became deffer. I began to despise her, to want her out of my way, out of Jenny's in my way. One morning at breakfast, Jenny came in and stood there looking at me.
Well, Jenny, what is it? If you're going to town today, Mr. Gare, I've written down some things for the house.
Very well, Jenny. If your list's ready, give it to me. I'll be leaving in a few minutes. I knew what she meant. She was getting impatient. My reply, which she waited for with those green eyes fixed on mine, was virtually a consent to her plan. As for me, I wasn't sure what I meant to do, but I thought it would do no harm, at least, to set the ball rolling. In town, I dropped into the garage and asked the mechanic to look the car over. I said Mrs. Gare was planning a trip to visit her family in Mississippi, that I'd have to drive her into Tucson to take the train, and that my tires weren't so good. After that, I stopped at the realty office.
Really, Mr. Gare, you're thinking of selling that beautiful place of yours?
Oh, it's just a possibility. I don't want any prospective buyers about the places yet. But my wife is planning a trip south, and I may follow her and remain there permanently. Helps set the problem. Place of ours takes a lot of handling, so we get sped up after a while.
Well, there'd be no difficulty disposing of the property, Mr. Gare. Well, just let me know when you're ready. Meanwhile, I won't bother you with people.
I drove home in a sort of trance. I wasn't shocked at what I'd done, and the thing was still wide open if I wanted to back out. When I got home, I didn't want to go into the house. So far, I'd had no luck with the coyote, so I busied myself setting the trap in another spot. While I was doing this, Jenny came out with that butcher knife again, and we went into the garage. Helen was at the piano.
Did you do what I told you to see?
Yes.
Good. I can't stand this much longer.
All right, Jenny. But I can't bear to be here when...
Kiss me, Steve. Don't worry. It'll be when you're out of the house.
Yeah? She didn't say any more, just looked at me with a twisted little smile. I gave her the sharpened knife, and she kissed me and went into the house. At dinner that night, Helen said...
It's all about making
I had words with Jenny today, Steve. I can't have her around any longer. You can fire her tonight if you will.
What? Oh, no, my dear. I offered to do it once and you wouldn't let me. Now you'll just have to do it yourself.
Steve, I'm afraid of her terribly.
Why, has she been ugly, threatening?
Don't shout so, Steve. I'm not as deaf as all that. She'll hear you. No, she hasn't threatened me, nothing like that. There's just something about her that fills me with horror.
Well, you're imagining things, Helen. What possible reason could she have for harming you?
I don't know, but this house has become a dreadful place. I'm cold all the time, and I'm shaky, and you seem different. You look at me sometimes as if you hate me.
Now, see here,
Don't
Helen.
try to reason with me. If she doesn't get out of this house quick, I'll lose my mind. She's like a witch or something malignant or evil.
Jenny came in just then to change the plates for dessert. As she bent over to take the platter, she held that knife in her hand in such a way that my blood ran cold for a minute. After she'd gone out.
You haven't noticed it, but lately I haven't taken a mouthful of food until I've seen you start to eat for fear she'll poison me.
It's ridiculous. Why shouldn't she poison me as well?
Because she's crazy about you.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
And you're crazy about her. Don't deny it, Steve. I may be deaf, but I'm not blind.
Look, Helen. I'm going into town for a drive. If you want to fire Jenny while I'm gone, that's all right with me. I tried not to dwell on the immediate events, but to think about the time when I'd be free, to go away with Jenny. The drive into town seemed endless, but at last I pulled up in front of the hotel.
Good evening, Mr. Gare. Come for the papers?
Yes, and a cigar, maybe, Fred. I looked around the little lobby. There wasn't a soul in there that I knew. I watched the people. One minute feeling sorry for them because their lives were so drab. The next envying them because they were so secure, simple. And I was sitting there staring unseeingly at the local paper when I suddenly came out of this trance, a spell that I'd been under. The shock of realization was frightful. I didn't want anything to happen to Helen. I prayed to heaven I'd get home in time. I kept recalling similar instances of such crimes I'd read in newspapers. I'd always wondered how people could become involved in such things. Well, I knew all about it now. Weak fool to let a coarse creature like that lead me into such a thing. If only I could be in time. I'd throw that girl out and devote the rest of my life to making Helen happy. Helen, generous, loving, intelligent, talented. Why hadn't I thought of all this before? Then I saw the car. It was parked at the side of the highway right at my turnoff. I knew it was a police car. I cursed to myself and prayed. Don't let them take long. I've got to be in time for Helen. Please. An officer stepped out into the road and waved his flash. Please. Please.
Hello.
What's up, officer?
Oh, looking for a stolen car, but not a baby like that one.
A local car, was it?
Yeah. Hey, that looks the opposite of cars, my friend. You must have been doing about 80 along that stretch.
I'm sorry I was overdoing it. I guess I stayed longer than I intended. My wife's alone in the house and not very well, and I was in a hurry to get home.
You live down this road?
That's right.
Hey, maybe that car could have got down in there. I think I'll...
No. I would have seen it.
Okay, Mr. Gare. Just take it easy, will you?
Certainly will, officer, and thanks. I stood there in the doorway, looking out. There was a light upstairs in the window of our bedroom. It threw a radiance on the screen door and burned with a steady glow, as if it had been burning like that for ages. As if it had witnessed a scene of horror and brooded over it, keeping the secret to itself. When I started finally for the house, my legs were so stiff I could scarcely walk. I stayed off the gravel, walking on the grass, and went in the back door. There wasn't a sound. I tiptoed through the kitchen, to the dining room, across the hall. Then I could see the lights from that lamp spilling down the stairway at the far end of the dark living room. I so loud I could hear it. But I didn't dare. What would I call? Perhaps everything was all right. Perhaps Helen was upstairs. How I prayed she was. I hesitated on the threshold, thought of glancing into Jenny's room, but that would have looked queer if nothing had happened. I stepped over the threshold. Ah! It was that trap, that bear trap. Somebody had placed it there, ready for me. It was excruciating. I reached, pulled at the thing. Helen! Jenny, somebody! Someone give me a hand! Who is it? Help me! Help me, hurry, I'm caught in this trap. Get the hammer, pliers, anything. She reached the bottom of the stairs and snapped on the light. I've never seen that. There was blood all over the place. On the walls. The white paint. Then I saw Jenny, lying on the floor in a crumpled heap, her long braids soaking in Helen's dress. Her hands and face were spattered with it. Her hair was disheveled, her eyes like pinpoints of fire. And against her side I could see the gleam of that long, sharp knife. She was coming slowly toward me. Oh, we were beautifully caught, Jenny and I. She with her knife, I with my trap. Not like that. What's happened?
Planned this together, you see. But it didn't turn out just as you thought it might.
Helen, please don't look at me like that.
Well, there she is. Look at her. If I hadn't been ready for her, I'd be lying in her place and you'd be glad, wouldn't you?
No. Helen, you insane. Drop that paper. Listen. She came closer. I made a lunge for her. With the grip of that steel about my leg, threw me off balance and I fell forward. She sprang on me. I tore her off, but that knife came at me. Face, throat, everywhere like flashes of lightning. Helen, don't do this to me. I swear I can't. Helen, don't. Car arrived in time to save my life. But I wish we'd better finish the job. Then and there.
Okay, dear. Okay, thanks. I'll send the doc right in. And Gare, I wouldn't worry too much about Helen. I think she'll be all right.
Suspense, presented by Roma Wine, R-O-M-A, made in California for enjoyment throughout the world. Before we hear again from Gregory Peck, the star of The Lonely Road from that suspense play, this is Coon Bradley for Roma Wine. Here's how millions of American homemakers are relieving the monotony of meatless Lenten meals. They are adding zest and freshness to otherwise drab menus by serving a fine Roma table wine. Yes, Roma wine makes the difference between just eating and friendly, enjoyable dining. Try serving Roma California Sauterne with your favorite fish tomorrow. Discover how delicate pale gold Roma Sauterne lends a enchanting new charm and companionship to your table. How Roma's delightful fragrance and smooth, palatable goodness make dining more pleasureful. With baked beans or spaghetti, serve full-bodied, red Roma California Burgundy. They're perfect flavor mates. Tomorrow, Friday, make dinner a treat with Roma wine. Roma wines cost but pennies a glass. So little, everyone can enjoy them often. Insist on Roma. R-O-M-A, Roma wine. Made in California for enjoyment throughout the world.
This is Gregory Peck. Like everyone else here in the film colony, I've always admired suspense, and it's been very exciting to appear here tonight. I want to thank Maria Palmer, who appeared as Jenny, and Kathy Lewis, who enacted the role of Helen in tonight's play. Next Thursday on Suspense, a very famous character of crime fiction will make his debut on the air. That'll be Baynard Kendrick's remarkable blind detective, Captain Duncan McLean. And Brian Donlevy will play Captain McLean in a radio play built around one of the most ingenious and cunning murders I've ever heard about. I'll surely be listening, and I know you will want to listen next Thursday to Suspense.
Gregory Peck will soon be seen as star of The Yearling, produced by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. Next Thursday, same time, Roma Wines will bring you Mr. Brian Donlevy as star of Suspense, radio's outstanding theater of thrills.
Produced by William Spear for the Roma Wine Company of Fresno, California. Suspense is broadcast from coast to coast and to our men and women of the armed forces overseas by shortwave and through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Hang on. I have a plan. I have this all planned out for you.
Yeah, must have been almost 5 miles. The sun is something fierce. I almost gave up.
No, I don't want that one.
Suspense. And the producer of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, the master of mystery and adventure, William N. Robeson.
One of the greatest pleasures we find in this business of keeping you in suspense is the discovery of new talent and of unusual story twists. In what you're about to hear, we think we have combined both. The twist? You'll never guess it, no matter how familiar you are with that mystical literary device, the ventriloquist dummy. And the new talent? Two young men, Bob Jurin, whose first radio play this is, and DeForest Kelley, a bright new luminary in the Hollywood firmament. Put them all together, you have a strange half hour ahead. Listen then, as DeForest Kelley stars in Flesh Peddler, which begins in exactly 1 minute.
It took mighty men to conquer mighty America, and the men set before themselves even mightier heroes, some real, some not. For instance, there was the legendary keel-holder, Mike Fink. Let Mike tell you about himself.
I'm a Salt River roarer. I'm a ring-tailed squealer. I'm a regular screamer from the old Mississippi. I'm the very infant that refused his milk before its eyes was open and called out for a bottle of old rye. I love the women, and I'm chock full of fight. I'm half wild horse and half cockeyed alligator. I can hit like fourth-proof lightning, and every lick I make in the woods lets in an acre of sunshine. I can outrun, outjump, outshoot, outbrag, outdrink, and outfight any man from Pittsburgh to New Orleans and back again to St. Louis. Come on, you flatters, you bodgers, you milk-white mechanics, and see how tough I am to jaw. I ain't had a fight for 2 days, and I'm spiling for exercise.
Folklore belongs to every nation's legendary past, and I guess we Americans have our share of some falls. And Mr. DeForest Kelley in Flesh, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
I'm an agent, a booking agent. Flesh peddlers, we're sometimes unkindly called. But I don't sell flesh. I sell talent. Singers, musicians, nightclub acts. And I'm pretty good at it. I've got an instinct for talent. When I find a new act that's really got it, I go after it until it's mine. Only the ventriloquist team of Brooks and Oliver. I wish I'd never heard of them. Then I could see My wife and I were vacationing in the Catskills last summer, and the night before we flew back to New York, the carnival pulled into town. Now, I don't want to sound like a snob, but to me, the carnival is the lowest form of show business. I hate them. But my wife, Gloria, loves them. Since I love Gloria, we went to the carnival.
Pete, isn't it exciting?
It's just cheap noise.
Oh, I wish it had come to town sooner.
I wish it hadn't come till tomorrow.
Oh, come on, Pete. You might even find some new talent.
Here?
Why not?
Freaks are for sideshows, honey, not class spots.
You never can tell. A bearded lady might go great at the Copa.
I can tell.
Right here for the wonder of the Midway. Hey, the one and only Alexander Wilson and his lovable little dummy pal, Oliver. Hey, you've seen ventriloquists before, you say, Hey, but you've never seen anything to equal Wilson, the remarkable Wilson and Oliver. Hey, don't pass this by, friend.
Ventriloquist, a dime a dozen.
Come on, I want to see him.
Honey, you've seen 100 just like him.
Well, maybe he's 1 in 100.
All right. We pushed through into the small tent and took our places on the hard, uncomfortable benches. Wilson was already seated on the platform, a typical childishly dressed dummy on his lap. He was a man in his 50s, I'd say, with the saddest face I've seen in 15 years of show business. When the people were in, he suddenly sprang the dummy to life.
Shut the doors, shut the doors. All present accounted for, Mr. Wilson.
You're sure, Oliver?
Sure.
Well, then say hello to the people.
Hello to the people.
Oh, now come, Oliver. You can do better than that.
I can?
Yeah.
Well, you ought to know.
The routine was awful, dull, time-worn. But for some reason, this Wilson fascinated me. He had a talent, all right. His handling of the dummy was amazingly accurate. As the act went on, I began to think that Wilson was even better than the Barkard said he was, and he was going over with the house. Wilson had Oliver sing while he himself smoked a cigarette. After a few more gag routines and a couple of neat tricks, the performance was over, and I knew I had to sign the act. I parked Glory on the merry-go-round and then went looking for Wilson. I walked back of the midway through the maze of painted trailers that were home to carny people. Suddenly the door to one of them flew open and a woman stepped out, a neatly trimmed beard covering her chin.
What do you want?
I'm looking for Alexander Wilson.
Oh. Wilson? Why?
I'm a talent agent from New York. I'd like to talk to him.
Agent?
Yes, Peter Harris, and you're...
Bernice, it's on the poster.
Oh, yes, of course, Bernice.
What do you want with Alexander Wilson?
I told you
Who is it, Bernice?
Talent agent. Never mind, go back in.
Agent?
I'm looking for Mr. Wilson.
Well, I'm Arthur. You caught my knife act? You know, I could pin a fly to a penny of 40 feet.
Don't mind him, flesh peddler. Go away. Go home. Agents are no good for us. Leave Wilson alone.
And you know, like I could put out a candle flame with a penknife at 30 feet, Agent Man.
Arthur?
And
go back in.
Maybe he could sell my act.
Go in.
All right. Wilson's in trailer 17, Agent Man. Hey, if you ever need a good
Shut up,
knife...
Arthur. Shut up. Get in there. Forget what he said.
That was an interesting episode, as good as they've ever been,
he
if I
isn't
do
quite
say
bright.
so myself.
You know what I mean?
Begin by simply listening.
What's so wrong about seeing
Slow
Wilson?
down.
There are plenty of acts like his. You don't need him.
Well, you've got my curiosity going now, Bernice.
I've been
Hadn't
your host
intended
for
that.
Obedient Servants,
But forget
Fashion
your
Saints,
curiosity.
Ryan Smalls,
And go
Killer
home.
Smalls, Vincent,
Now.
twice, Vincent, twice.
Why?
You can always
Believe me,
call me a
flesh
minute.
peddler, you will thank
Thanks
me
so
for
much
this
for
advice
swinging by. Hope you
someday.
had a great time.
Which is trailer 17?
Catch you guys on the flip side.
Thank you.